What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video of the Footballers Vida channel, in which today we are going to talk about a debate that's been going on for these last couple of weeks that I've been seeing roaming around the world of Twitter. And as you can see from the title, we are going to discuss who is the better player, who is the better midfield, Jude Bellingham or Pedri. That is what we're going to discuss today. As a Barcelona fan, you already know the answer for me. You already know what I'm going to say, right? But in this video, I'm going to try to be unbiased as much as I can. I'm going to be a little bit, objective towards this conversation, towards this subject, and try to defend both sides as much as I can. But I'm always going to lean towards Pedri because I'm a Barcelona fan. Because at the end of the day, this discussion is all about preference and the team you support. Every Madrista will say Jude Bellingham. Every Barcelona fan will say Pedri. No one's going to switch up. No one's going to switch up who's better because that's just how it is. That's just how football works, right? No one's ever going to concede to the other. The only way any other, the other fan base will ever concede is if one of the players just has a massive drop off where we'll never see the level they're showing right now ever again. But besides that, it's never going to be a conversation where there's going to be a total agreement, right? So, in my opinion, I'm gonna give my opinion in this video. So let's get into it. So Jude Bellingham, Pedri. One of the things that I think differ them is the fact that Pedri, from a very young age, showed the level playing for a big team like Barcelona. Obviously, Jude Bellingham played for Borussia Dortmund, and it was showing levels at that age. He was showing it at a very young age as well. But the difference is that Pedri made his move to Barcelona. He made his first big move to Barcelona at such a young age and started showing the levels. I think every single Barcelona fan that can agree that once we bought Pedri, we didn't really see it as a major signing. I don't think anyone would have expected, for the price tag that we paid for him to be such a major signing, right? Maybe fans from Las Palmas would have said that, wow, you just signed a gem. But no Barcelona fan and no one in the world of football could ever have said, yo, this guy is generational talent. Jude Bellingham obviously again was showing levels in Borussia Dortmund, which is a good club for a lot of youngsters. We've seen a lot of players come out from that team and do great things, and Jude Bellingham's no exception. But I think the main difference between both of them is the fact that Pedri was doing it for Barcelona while he was doing it for Borussia Dortmund. It's hard to say that Bellingham was a star boy at that time because he's playing for Borussia Dortmund in Germany, while Pedri was considered a star boy because of what he was doing in Barcelona, playing in La Liga, playing Champions League level too. Bellingham was also playing Champions League level, but again, you're just never going to get that high praise when you're playing for Borussia Dortmund compared to us playing for a bigger club like Madrid, like Barcelona. So that's why Pedri, during that time, like around 2020, 2021, Pedri was giving the more shouts. I don't think any Madrista can even tell me that, oh, Bellingham was the star boy, he was the best player, he was the better midfielder during that time, because they weren't looking at him like that, because they didn't really care about him until he joined Real Madrid. But during that time, I think the main difference that was making it clear during that time in 2021, 2022 was the 2021 Euros. That's when Pedri, I think, just showed himself to the whole world, because we already started seeing levels from Pedri under Barcelona. But during that time under Koeman, it wasn't a great time for Barcelona. So not a lot of people really cared about Barcelona. Not a lot of people tuned in to watch Barcelona. Only us Barcelona fans. So we saw the level Pedri had, but I don't think anyone really saw how good Pedri was during that time, because again, no one was tuning in to watch Barcelona, especially of how much of a downfall they were going through that time. But the 2021 Euro was, wow, just a major revelation for Pedri. Jude Bellingham also played in the 2021 Euro, but he wasn't a complete starter like Pedri was for Spain. Spain that made the semifinals and lost to Italy. Yes, they lost to Italy, but I think in that game, I think we'll look back to it, like Spain should have won. They had a lot of chances to win that game, but unfortunately went out. But Pedri was the major revelation for Spain in that team, and I think a major revelation to the world to be like, wow, this guy is actually a baller. Like, the way he just dominated the midfield, the amount of chances he created during that Euros, he was just incredible. And we all saw those memes started coming out. He then went on to the Olympics because he was just playing so many games at such a young age and showing the high level he was and how important he was, already setting himself for Spain. And then people started realizing, wow, he's also very important for Barcelona. Jude Bellingham in that tournament made some cameos, but he just wasn't, the star guy, or he wasn't considered a star guy. He didn't really become a star guy for England until the 2022 World Cup. That's when he started seeing more of him in England. But when it came to the international level in that tournament, I think the best two teams in that tournament were Spain and Italy at that point. I think England also, they made the final, but again, like they just weren't the best. I really wouldn't have considered them the best in that tournament, even in the last tournament. But I think that was the major difference during that point. Like Pedri was considered a star boy first because of what he was doing before Bellingham, playing at a bigger team with higher expectations and higher, um, like I said, higher expectations for playing for Barcelona, while Bellingham was still doing it for Borussia Dortmund. His move to Real Madrid made the biggest difference, but during that time, it was more Pedri. Now, when we look at it, Jude Bellingham obviously joined Real Madrid in 2023, and I can't lie. As a Barcelona fan, I was very mad at the point because I knew Jude Bellingham was a great player, and I was upset that he joined Real Madrid because he at such a young age, like joined Real Madrid, like what 20 years old, and I'm like, wow, they have a player for the next couple years, and he showed it in the first year for Real Madrid, just scoring goal after goal, scoring important goals for Real Madrid, showing how important he was for that squad during that year, especially since they had no striker when Benzema left, and just making a major impact for them in the first year. Like it was just incredible to see. Like it was honestly very shocking and very surprising that he would just come into this big team like Real Madrid and just completely change the roles that he was playing from Borussia Dortmund to Madrid and showing the highest level that he was able to do it. And again, as a Barcelona fan, I was upset when he joined Real Madrid, but what could we do? But during that time, that's when the debate really started showing, like Jude Bellingham and Pedri. Again, like in the 22 World Cup is also when we started seeing more of an emergence from Bellingham in those debates. But I think before that, it was definitely more leaning towards Pedri. But the main difference between Pedri and Bellingham is the fact that Pedri consistently got injured. Like he would just consistently get injured. But the main thing about his injury, one of the things I've said about Pedri when it comes to his injuries, is the fact that he always comes back good. Like when you consistently get injured, you expect the player to go down a level or just not play the same. Just become like worse than they were in their better days. Like Ansu Fati is the major example of that. But Pedri, every time he would come back from injury, he would come back as important as ever for the team and just come back as a baller every single time. He would come back amazing every single time for us. And like every time he came back, we were just like waiting for him to come back because we knew that he was such a difference maker in this midfield for us. And during the time, again, we weren't doing the best, and we were just waiting for Pedri. Like he was never a player where we're like, all right, he consistently injured, get him out the team. It's done for him. He's just injury prone. We were always waiting for him to come back because how important he was for us. So during these last couple years or these last like year or two, the main difference is that Pedri consistently getting injured, while Jude Bellingham, he would get some knocks here and there, but he would continue to play. He would play more than Pedri and show a high level playing in those during that time where Pedri was consistently injured. He would completely Bellingham would just keep playing, scoring goals, scoring late winners, and just being an important player for Real Madrid. But his signing to Real Madrid was the major, I think, the peak of why when we started seeing like the debate between Pedri and Bellingham. Now, when it comes to comparing these players, obviously it's hard to compare these players. Like it's not fair to compare these players just because Pedri is more of a 6/8, where he can play as a 10, but you're not going to get the best out of him playing as a 10. While Bellingham is a 10/8, where he can play as a 6, he can fill in for that role as a 6, but you're not going to get the best out of him playing as a 6. Like the main thing you can say between these two is that they 100% could play together on the pitch. They 100% can play for the same team. If that would ever happen, which is never going to happen, but it could 100% be a reality where these two can play in the same squad because of the roles that they play and how much they would just help each other out on the pitch. Because Pedri's chance creations, control from the midfield, dropping deep, collecting the ball, pushing it forward, while Bellingham makes those elite runs into the box, gets into the right spaces, gets to the right open spaces. Like these two would just link up together amazing. But we're never going to see that. But that's the main difference between these two. They're different players. They're not the same players. Like I think for me personally, again, I'm leaning towards Pedri because I'm a Barcelona fan, and for what he offers us, I think Madristas will obviously lean towards Bellingham because of what he does for them and what he offers for them. But when we say who's better, like you I think when it comes to stats like goals and assists, Bellingham obviously kills Pedri because Pedri's just main thing is he's been consistently injured, so the numbers aren't putting up for him. And us Barcelona fans, we already know why his stats aren't amazing when it comes, especially when it comes to assists. Like goals is not part of his game like Bellingham, but when it comes to assists, like we know, already know why. Like this guy just creates so many chances for our players, but none of our players are just bums or bots and keep on miss the chances, the clear chances that he sets up for them. And this season has been a major example of that too, because it's continuing even to this season. I think the main thing with Pedri is that he hasn't had elite attackers up top, elite finishers up top, and these last recent years compared to Bellingham, but Bellingham's game is already changed to being a goal scorer. So that's the difference between goals and between them. But when it comes to assists, Pedri just isn't flattered because of the players he's had up top for the last couple of years. Like obviously we signed Lewell, but it's not nowhere near prime. If we had prime Lewell, okay, that's a different story. Rafinha just started banging this year. Dembele was a bot in front of the box, in front of the goal. Like he was a bot, multiple chances missed. Lamine Yamal, obviously we're seeing more of an emergence here, but his finishing isn't the greatest. You know, we had Aubameyang, Adama Traore, like we had like Ferran Torres. We had a lot of players up top that just didn't do what it needed to be done up top when Pedri was creating those chances for them. Like that's why we wanted to see. Oh man, that's why we wanted to see more of a linkage between him and Messi, because they just linked up amazing, and Messi would finish the chances that Pedri would set up for him. But fortunately, that would never happen again. But when it comes to those stats, obviously Bellingham kills him, because Bellingham, again, besides him being a massive goal scorer, he has the likes of Vinny and Rodrigo, who are great finisher too. Now he has Mbappe, so he has an advantage in terms of attackers up top. But I think when it comes to like possession of the ball, holding onto the ball, controlling the midfield, Pedri I think is better than Bellingham at that. I think Bellingham, the thing with Bellingham is he drops deep, but he just does. For me, I just don't see that he does the same thing as Pedri, as dropping deep, making a half turn and going. Because Bellingham has, since he plays a higher role. He has the likes of Valverde or Camavinga or Tchouaméni who do the job for him, like in that aspect, like dropping deep, collecting the ball, and pushing the ball forward. Yes, he drops, but he doesn't drop all the time. Like he has other players that fill in for that role. While Pedri is the main guy who drops for us, because we don't have a proper six. We don't have no Busquets anymore. We like our six that was supposed to be our six this season. Bernal got injured early in the season, so Pedri is the one that fills in that role, because Casado, Frankie just don't do it at the level as Pedri. So Pedri always drops deep in between the center halves, collects the ball, and pushes the ball forward. I think when it comes to securance with the ball, they're pretty even on that, because Pedri is so secure in the ball, and so is Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham has it more on strength, and Pedri I think just has it more on IQ and just like press resistant he is, because it's so hard to get the ball off of both of them. But I just like it the way Pedri does it. Like I don't know. Again, it's just about preference, right? But I like it more how Pedri shows it. Like I like an eye test. I like it more how it's just more pleasing to me the way Pedri turns. Gets the ball, collects the ball, turns the ball. Like how hard is it to get the ball off of him? And it might be because of a matter of physicality and their height and stuff, because Pedri is shorter than him, so he probably has more agility and can make those turns more satisfying. While Bellingham puts his body into everyone, just presses them off the ball, pushes them off the ball, and then boom, turns and goes. So I like a little bit Pedri how does it, but they both are very secure in the ball. I just think Pedri's a little bit more secure in the ball. In terms of dribbling, man, it's hard to say about dribbling because they're both great dribblers. I think Bellingham is better in terms of dribbling going forward and into those tight spaces in the box. I think Pedri, in terms of dribbling and collecting the ball and dribbling forward into the halfway line and going a little bit forward up, is good. But Bellingham in those tight spaces inside the box or around the box, I think he does it a little bit better. So I'll give it to Bellingham in that aspect. Finishing, okay, we already said Bellingham. In terms of chance creation, I'd give it to Pedri every day, because Pedri just, his eye for the game, and eye for those goals in terms of assists, in terms of setting up play for his teammates, is just incredible. Like Bellingham has it too, but I just don't think it's the same level as Pedri. Like Pedri stays at the edge of the box, he stays outside of the box. While Bellingham gets into the box a lot, he expects the chances to come to him, and yes, he creates them, but not as much as Pedri. It's not his main job as much as it is for Pedri to do it for his team. That's why I said in the beginning, like they can 100% play together 100% because Bellingham's elite runs into the box, while Pedri's amazing chance creations. They will link up incredibly. Like Bellingham will score a bunch of goals and Pedri will get a bunch of assists. But I think in terms of chance creation, I'll give it to Pedri. I'll give it to Pedri again because Bellingham has the goal scoring ability over Pedri. So when it comes to those aspects, attacking wise, midfield wise, defensively wise, I'd say Bellingham's has a little bit more of an advantage just because he's taller, so he can reach a lot, further with his legs. With his long ass legs, he can reach a lot further with those tackles. And Pedri defensively wise has more, like he has good IQ when it comes to defensively wise, but it's just not to the best level compared to how you could compare it to a like of Jude Bellingham, just because Bellingham has a bigger stature, so he can reach for those balls with his long ass legs better than Pedri and make those late tackles a little bit better because being that tall gives you an advantage when you're making a late tackle or something. So when it comes to defensive wise, I think they're pretty even. I think just Bellingham has a little bit more advantage just because of his height. But in terms of IQ, defensively wise, Pedri is up there. So again, this always is going to come down to preference. So when it comes to achievements so far this in their careers, they're still very young players. Pedri, I think, is 21 or 21 years old, and Jude Bellingham is also 21. Or I think Pedri may be a year older, 22 then. They're still very young players. They still have a long career to go. I think the main difference as to why we're comparing them this year a lot more is because Pedri is playing a lot more. Bellingham has already been showing it since last year how incredible he is for Real Madrid. And but Pedri is showing it even more this season, and why this debate has come up a lot more because, again, like I said, Pedri is just these last couple years has just shown how injury prone he's been and how consistently injured he would be for us. Every time we would get him back, we lose him for a month or two, and that was the major disadvantage for us. And again, he is always that guy. When he comes back amazing. But this season, he's not got injured at all, or has not gotten any long injuries at all. He's had some knocks here and there, but not anywhere where he's out for 2 months, out for 3 months, like we've seen in the last couple seasons. So that's why this debate has come up a lot more, because we're seeing the level of Pedri week in, week out. We're finally seeing it for a longer period of time compared to what we've seen in the past. Like last season, you'll give it to Bellingham every single day because Bellingham was just playing consistently and showing high level consistently, while Pedri would be in and out because he would get injured. So kudos to Flick and whatever he's done, whatever magic he's put on for Pedri for him to not get consistently injured, whatever new regimen of training or whatever doctors or whatever he's brought into the squad, into the team, because this season we're seeing more of Pedri finally, because it's just been a problem of injuries. That's why this debate is coming up a lot more. But to end this, it's a matter of preference. It's always going to be a matter of preference. You can't compare these players because they just play different roles. Again, it would always come down to fan bases who, if you dislike Barca, you're going to pick Bellingham. If you dislike Madrid, you're going to pick Pedri. If you're a neutral fan. If you're a Madrista, Bellingham. If you're a Barca fan, Pedri. It's just never going to be anything that's ever going to be settled. It's just like the Messi and Ronaldo debate. It's just never going to be settled. If you prefer Ronaldo, you prefer Ronaldo. If you prefer Messi, if you're smart, you prefer Messi, right? So this is a debate that's never going to be settled. I don't think it's ever going to be settled, because when it comes to achievements so far, Jude Bellingham's won a Champions League. He's won the Supercopa of Spain. He's won the Super Cup, the FIFA World Cup, and then those trophies that they won this year, the league, and obviously trophies with Borussia Dortmund too. But Pedri's also won the league title for Barcelona. He's won the Supercopa de España twice. He's won the Euros, obviously. He's won a Copa del Rey, and yeah, I don't think they're far off when it comes to club trophies. I just think that, because when it comes to the major trophy, Bellingham has the Champions League and Pedri has the Euro. I mean, people are gonna put up the excuse like Pedri didn't play the 3 important games. Yeah, he didn't, but he still played most of the games. He played all the group stage games, 3, and then actually not most of the games then, because he only played like 20 minutes into the game against Germany, because that bum ass fucking Toni Kroos put in a shit tackle and took him out. That was extremely disappointing. But he still lifted it. Ronaldo didn't play the finals or the Euros. So I don't care what you say. But when it comes to those major trophies, yeah. But again, they're still very young and they still have a long career to go, and they both have the potential to win a lot more. It will come down to the team surrounding them for sure. And I say right now, both teams of how they're playing are Barcelona's a little bit better this season, but for the years to come, I think Madrid have a little bit of an advantage because they have a very young squad with very good players. Barca have a good squad with young players too, but we still need to invest in a lot more positions, like the striker position. We need another left winger because Rafinha isn't the youngest either. But well, in terms of future squads, they're pretty. They're right there. They're right there. Real Madrid have a little bit slight of advantage, so it's gonna come down to how it comes down to the next couple years to really compare them. If you want to keep on comparing them, but again, it's about preference. In the end of the day, it's always going to be about preference, and it's not fair to compare both of these players. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know, guys, what you guys think in the comments down below. Who do you guys think is a better player? Who do you guys prefer? Who would you rather have in your squad? If you were to replace any of your midfielders for whatever team you support, who would you pick for yourself? Who do you think is more aesthetically pleasing? Who do you think is a better footballer in general? I think Pedri's a better footballer in general, in my opinion. Again, look at the flag back there. I'm going to be biased, right? So let me know down in the comments below. Remember, like, subscribe, favorite, hit the notification bell for every time we upload. Share to your friends that love football. And again, leave your comments down below. I want to have a chat with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.